Dan, I really love doing the podcast, but maybe I need another day to recover.
To gather your thoughts, to fully embrace everything that just happened.
I'm exhausted. I don't think it was the physical toll, but it was, I was just pulled in a lot of different directions, and I met a lot of neat people. And I don't know, it just does something to your brain when you're in a situation like that, because there was like a lot of things I wanted to do. Filming, making a video for my YouTube channel. I didn't do anything. I was just caught up in the moment. It was just a great day.
Yes,
Do
and
people even know what we're talking about?
I was just going to say, and for those of you wondering what we're talking about, we are fresh off the heels of the grand opening of your new wood yard. And yeah, it was a whirlwind of, well, I was down there, 4 or 5 days? And yeah, there was so much going on. Whew, crazy.
Mm-hmm. There is the element of this where I just loved having you guys down, you, Bob Nelson, and Ken from Metza Machines, and my friend Leroy, who spent the whole weekend here. And I get that guilty feeling, where I know people want to be there, they're enjoying themselves or doing what makes them happy, but you still just, I get this guilty feeling where I feel like I'm pulling them away from their own lives. I don't know. It's hard to explain. Does that make sense? I don't know.
Yeah, it does. And I think having more people there would have just added to your stress level, because there would have been more people for you to tell them what they should be doing or point out things they could do. And then you would have had to, instead of just telling all of us what we needed to do, you would have more people that you would have to point out and find things for them to do.
Well, I was not a taskmaster, so don't come off like I was. I was not a taskmaster. And when all those guys brought out their heavy equipment, their big chainsaws and their splitters, and Log Hauler Jesse had his big crane there, I just kind of went the other direction, because the closer I got to them, I wanted to get in there and start stacking. I think that's probably what it is. That's what I do. I get my hands dirty. I stack wood. I make firewood, but I wasn't making anything. I wasn't doing anything, but that wasn't my job. I don't want to, Dan, we had hundreds of people there. And that was my job, was
Right.
to greet and to thank them and to talk about what was on their mind. And people have recommendations, and I'm listening. They have stories that they share. There was this one gentleman, he was from, I can't remember now. He grew up in Ohio, but he moved to West Virginia. And he was touched by that story about my dad, because my dad grew up in West Virginia and moved to Ohio. And I think it was his dad grew up in Ohio and moved to West Virginia. And we were about the same age. We had similar arcs to our life story with our relationship with our parents. And he brought my dad, he gave it to me, a West Virginia ball cap. And that was touching.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, you were hosting. I mean, you have obligations as the host, and I guess the person that, people came there to talk with you, to meet you. And so, yeah, there's a lot of obligations and commitments there you had to fulfill. And I think at some point we have to get this out there. And I think it now can be said with certainty that you are the most famous firewood delivery service in the world.
Stop it.
I think you got to run with that. I think you do. I mean,
you think?
Yeah. I mean, look at, you had a channel, what was it? 23. There was a news station there. There was
Channel 21, WFMJ,
Channel 21.
Youngstown, Ohio.
Yep. Yeah. There was just and that was on Thursday, I believe. So there was so much going on and building up to Saturday. Whew.
There was about 20 drones flying up in the air.
But are
Yeah.
you
Well,
comfortable with
when
that
I was
title?
in,
Are you comfortable with
uh,
that pressure of being the most famous firewood delivery service in the world?
with fame comes tremendous responsibility, Dan. When I was in Finland, this is no joke. I was in Finland and that gentleman came up to me and in broken English knew who I was, gave me the thumbs up and told me to have a great day. And then when my the team from Yappa was in Japan, they showed a picture. They were at a firewood yard, and a person was wearing my Ohio Woodburner T-shirt in Japan.
Ooh, yep,
Uh
yeah.
huh. Yeah. So I came away from this weekend drained but energized, and I just had a blast. I wish I could have made everything 10 times better. And you want to complain about the weather because it was a little moist, but
A little
I
bit.
think in the grand in a way it was practically ideal weather for firewood because it didn't really it misted right on in the morning, and it never rained to where you wanted to go run for cover, and it
Yeah,
was short lived.
it was just kind of that, yeah, that misty, drizzling kind of rain, and it was
And then
on
it
and
and then
off.
it yeah, and then it just went away, but it was that thick cloud cover, and it was just which I think I like for firewooding because it keeps you out of the sun, and it wasn't too hot, it wasn't too cold. I thought it was kinda nice. The ground
Yeah.
had some wet spots, but I don't know. I think that was reasonable, especially this time of year in Ohio.
Well, that's what everyone I was talking to that was there from Ohio. I mean, they were used to that. They said, this is just another day in Ohio, Northeast Ohio. So yeah, the weather was a little bit of a factor when it came to things like it kind of prevented me from bringing out my laptop and going around and trying to capture some audio for the podcast here. And so there
I
was
agree.
those type of things. But otherwise, as far as working and making firewood, yeah, it was good.
Had the weather been dry, I would have had my electric wrapper there, but there's no
Ah,
sense in bringing that out.
yep,
Yeah, I would
yeah.
have been able to. I would, yeah. What the heck? I'd put you to work and have you make me some bundles. Yeah. So if we are not clear enough, everyone, this was a new wood yard that I've moved my business to. I was once working off of acreage here at my house, and I've just outgrown it. And I moved to this new site. It's kind of an industrial, hard packed ground. It used to be a landscaping bulk supply company, and it's right off the highway. Excellent location within the city limits of Cortland, Ohio. And I decided to just put it out there. Let's have an open house, guys. And how did I know that there was going to be that many people show up? I was hoping to maybe get like 4 or 5, and we could just hang out. But holy mackerel! On top of that, I r- contacted all my channel sponsors from YouTube. I'm a YouTube channel, as is Dan. My channel is Ohio Woodburner, and Dan's is Back 40 Firewood. And holy cow, they sent every morning I would look on my porch. I felt like your crazy neighbor that has the Amazon business. There's just more boxes getting delivered. And we just gave away hats. Easton Made Wood Splitters just gave us a ton of stuff to give away. Yappa, Lepo Rents with Marty, who helped us out with the machines, and he donated that little articulated loader. That thing was neat
Oh man,
to load logs.
that thing really grabbed my attention. I'm really
Yeah.
I was looking at that with high interest what it could do.
Yeah, I'd love to have
Whew.
one of those. Yeah. Yeah. Container One, Melissa Nagy, my branding company, and just a whole host of people. And then a lot of people brought stuff to donate,
Yeah.
which was just super nice. Yeah, and I met a lot of people that I hear comments from all the time on my channel, and their comments are always well well intended and nice. and positive. And then I met a lot of people who live locally that I have never met before, but they follow the channel, or they also heard some of the advertisement for this open house and they came. I was meeting a lot of neat people.
And I met a few people. I think two or three people that mentioned listening to the podcast. So I want to give a quick shout out. And of course I forgot the gentleman's name, but he was there with his son, and his son was pretty bashful and was kind of scared. like I couldn't. He was kind of like almost like he was afraid of me or something. But so if you're listening, you know who you are. Thanks again for coming out and for listening to the podcast, because it was great to see and meet people that mentioned, "Hey, I listened to your podcast."
Mm-hmm. There were a ton of YouTube channels there. My friend Nate from Bissell Maple Farm came, and he showed up and he says, "Joe, what do you need?" He says,
Yep.
if you need, he was help parking cars or emptying trash cans. He says, whatever you need, you just point me in the direction of it. My good friend Kevin from the Bionic Life came, same thing. They're just giving, nice people, and they're from right up the road here in Jefferson, Ohio. And I've been crossing paths with them on a number of occasions. So who else, Dan? York Firewood.
Yep.
Lou Reyes from Over 50 TV, and he also has the Side Hustle Rules. Hometown Acres.
Dude Ranch.
One Eye Customs. Dude Ranch DIY. Boy, those two guys are nice. I
Yeah.
finally got to hang out with them. They're just nice guys.
Yeah, and I was surprised. Adam from Hometown Acres was actually working. Like he was actually splitting and stacking wood.
He did.
Like,
yeah, I thought he was going to be, walking around, and he was working. And then you didn't see this. This was after everyone left. So it was just me, my wife, and my daughter, Emily, and then Marty from Lepo Rents. And then it was Adam from Hometown Acres. And then it was Jake and Chris with Dude Ranch DIY. Those three guys come up to me and they says, "Hey, how about you pull this trailer around?" My loaded trailer was under the Yappa, "and we'll stack it for you." I was like, forget it, guys. I'll do it myself tomorrow. And they said, "Oh, no. We want to do it." I was like, holy cow, that was awesome. So I did. I pulled my trailer around and they stacked it for me.
And neighbor Doug, I think neighbor Doug was there too, stacking.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. And neighbor Doug from One Eye Customs. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they were all there, and they just unloaded the trailer. It was just a nice gesture. Yeah. Super nice. One other thing too, Dan. The very next morning, I was sore. So I get up and I think, you know what? I was still super sensitive with the property owner, and I wanted to drive over there and just make sure get all the litter picked up and everything cleaned up. I drive into the parking lot. Dan, I'm telling you, and I filmed it. I hope I can put this into an upcoming video. There was not nothing, no paper wrapper, no pop can, no cap, no pop cap. There's no hot dog wrappers, nothing laying anywhere. It was just like there was no one ever even there.
Nice.
Just speaks miles about the character of our supporters in the firewood community on YouTube.
Yeah, that is actually surprising to hear, because normally there's, something gets dropped or something gets, set down and forgotten about, not intentionally just thrown on the ground, but there's always something like that. But yeah, to hear that's wow.
Yeah, nice. But what that means is, and that happened, but what that means is someone picked it up.
Yeah.
And put it in the trash, and that's just, I call that leadership. I just call that just being a good person.
Except I think there was
awesome.
one empty can of Dr. Pepper someone stuffed in a log, I think.
I wonder who that was. Yeah. And then did you see the one gentleman who brought the Built Right splitter? His name is Steve.
Yes.
Gosh, that guy. I had said that if him and Shibe hooked up together, they could take on the world. Those two.
Oh my goodness. He was down there bucking up rounds, splitting, and he made a big pile of splits. And all day, that's all. He just sat, he was down there focusing on working. That's it.
Yep. Totally agree. I went down there just to make eye contact. He just had his head down, working that lever on his splitter. Yeah, that splitter's something too.
Yeah.
And how about Bill Obermeyer, Obi from Cincinnati? What
Oh
a great
man,
guy,
he is a great guy. Yep.
isn't he? He's such a gentleman. He's nice, and he's just cool. He's like that kind of person that you just feel like you've known him your whole life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. It was good seeing him. I met him last year at Bunyan, and he's been on the channel and in the comments and in the chat on live streams quite a bit. But yeah, it was just great again seeing him, talking to him, and he was having a blast bucking up logs. And I talked to him a little
Yeah.
bit, and he said, "Yeah, it's the rain, the weather, a little bit of mud here and there, but that never hurt anybody." And he mentioned that how he just enjoyed hanging out with like-minded people, and it was just a great day of friendship, and
Mm-hmm.
community.
I think the other thing that people might have noticed, and I think you noticed it too, is that probably one of the most popular guys out there and continues to win fans everywhere he goes is Log Holler Jesse.
Yes,
Isn't
and
he?
I actually
That
went up and pointed it out to him while he was talking to his wife and his daughter. And his daughter was razzing him just like I was. And he's like, "Yep, he is. He's." People were coming up and saying, "Hey, Log Harler Jesse," and he was kind of blushing and got a little shy about it.
yeah.
But
Yeah, that guy, if he ever decided to start his YouTube channel, he would be on Easy Street, I think. 'Cause, I mean, everyone just loves him.
yeah,
He's just yeah. And then he donated all that that diesel and whatever it took to run his truck to move those logs around and all. I saw he
yeah.
had some little kids up in the seat and let them toot the horn.
Oh, that was and
Yeah.
that was another attraction. Like when he was getting ready to move the logs, he would blow the horn a few times and kind of like
Uh-huh.
everyone would look over there.
Everyone
And,
would go down there.
what's going on? Oh, let's go watch this.
Yeah. But then the other one, and I knew this was going to happen. I think the big draw and what everyone was there was wanting to see was the Yappa 405, man. When
Yep.
that thing would start up, like Bob Nelson was the one that was doing most of the operating. It was like the Pied Piper, you know. It just everyone just gathered around and just sat
Yep.
back and watched. It's just hypnotizing watching that thing work.
Yeah, and it was working. I mean, he was running that for extended. I mean, he was running like a full deck of logs through that thing, and I think that's kind
Yeah.
of what people enjoyed seeing was the fact that unlike at some of these shows where they run a log or two and then they take a break because they only have a limited supply of logs, here he was running log after log after log after log. Man, crazy.
Yeah. So this would otherwise be a bad sign, Dan. I was standing under the tent at the T-shirt giveaway tent, and Bob Nelson from Metza Machines walks up to me and he goes, "Joe, do you have a crescent wrench?" So from my experiences, whenever someone asks for a crescent wrench, that's usually a bad sign. And I do keep one in my toolbox. So I says, "Yes, but it's a metric one." And that's a joke, Dan. You're supposed to laugh at that, but whatever. So what had happened during the transport of moving the 405 from my place down that bumpy timber road and then the truck ride over here and then being forked around, one of the hydraulic lines had worked itself loose and it spit
Ooh.
out some number 46 onto the ground. So Bob had tightened it up and filled it back up, and we were back to running again.
Yeah, he was right on top of everything. Like I said, he was just kept things going, filling up
And his
trailer after
sidekick
trailer.
Ken, yeah, that Ken boy, he doesn't stop either.
No.
Yeah, Bob's sidekick, gee whiz. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dan, I had a great time. I didn't want it to end. I didn't want to see you guys leave. I just enjoyed having you and feeding you. You guys eat like an army.
Well, and I don't know if you wanted to just quick touch on how, our original plan was to get everything mostly done on Friday, but we were planning,
Right.
we were going to be getting into town middle of the day Thursday, and the weather for Friday looked bad, so we changed plans. You changed stuff. You started making phone calls, getting people to come over with their trailers. We sprang into action, and we got all of your equipment moved Thursday afternoon, evening.
Yeah, and that was 100% brought to us by Lepo Rents, the greatest heavy equipment rental company in the United States, and they're headquartered here in Northeast Ohio. They have locations in Ohio and Alabama and Florida. And our good friend Marty,
Yep.
the the big machine, because that Yappa weighs almost 5,000 pounds. So not just any machine can pick it up. It's got to be a very big skid steer with extended forks or a telehandler. So Marty was coming out Friday, and I called him up and I says, Marty, I said, have you been looking at the weather forecast? He goes, I have. I says, I said, the team's going to be in here this afternoon, Thursday. Is there a way you can get this machine out here one day earlier? Yeah, and there's this lengthy pause of dead air on the phone, and he says, I'm on it, Joe. It was awesome, man. I felt like I was in a Rocky movie, you know? And next thing you know, 4 p.m., he says, I will be there at 4 p.m. And what do you know? 4 p.m., here he comes with that was a big skid steer.
Oh my goodness.
That was a real big one.
And it took every bit it had to move that Yappa on your floating timber road up to the front.
The Yappa is deceptive, isn't it? You think it doesn't weigh much because you see a lot of these, these tin sheet metal panels and stuff. It is heavy, man. There is some serious structure behind all that. And I mean, it took every bit of power that skid steer had.
Yeah. But then, like I said, it was just a coordinated, well-oiled machine. The trailer would pull onto the front of your driveway. We'd load one thing up. Another one would come in and load that up. And we got them all loaded up, moved over. And then your landlord with his big loader, I mean, that thing's gigantic. But then he offloaded everything, which was super cool. Huh.
And my nephew was there who's got heavy equipment experience, because the irony was the big loader at the new yard had the shortest forks I've ever seen. And and it couldn't slide all the way through. So they had to rig, with chain and straps to get it to be able to pick up the live deck and the cleaner. It couldn't pick up either one of them because the forks were too short.
Yeah.
So log hauler Jesse was there helping, and my nephew was there, and everyone just worked together. And I did what I do best, and that is stay out of everyone's way and not screw anything up for them. Yeah. I did a good job with that.
Yes. Yes.
But I was also busy though, Dan, because while all this was going on, Channel 21 News, WFMJ, Youngstown, Ohio shows up asking if I wanted to, could they do an interview? I was like, yep.
Yeah, it was like I said, there was just so much going on, and little thing, one little thing here, one little thing there, that adds up. And
yeah,
I was very thankful though that we got everything done on Thursday that we did, because Friday was not
that would have been
as nice as Saturday.
That would have been a disaster moving all that, because that road gets greasy,
Yeah.
And oh wow, that would have been tough. That was tough enough as it was.
Yeah.
It was, and then Bob had to do, so Finland, a lot of people don't know this though, but the Yappa has a modem inside of it, and it communicates with Finland, and they monitor its performance. Isn't it amazing?
Yeah.
And they had some problems with the modem, and they were having Bob doing some reconfiguration while they had everything torn apart on it. And right in a monsoon, and Dan was holding that canopy over top of him the entire time because the wind was trying to blow that out onto the highway. And that was our day, was moving stuff. My friend Leroy and I, with his flatbed, we moved about 10 totes over. My tractor, all the attachments, all the other small stuff that had to come over. It took about 4 trips with the truck and trailer. So and then to get ready for the party, the tent guy shows up to put up the tent. The
Yeah.
Porta-John guy brings
Porta
the
Johns.
Porta-John, which
Yep.
you took immediate advantage of.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into something like this. Way more than I think most people realize. Putting on a show or a get together of this magnitude, it's a big feat.
Well, you'd have experience, but I sure as heck didn't. I didn't at all. That was a new experience for me. But you know what though, Dan? I don't know. Did at any time during the open house, did your little rusty wheel start grinding inside your head about, maybe we should do this again next year?
Yes, now that you mention it, yeah, my wheels were kind of turning. That there was a lot of potential because the machines are already there. Everything is
Yeah.
kind of put in place, but you could
Yeah, all that
even
would be done.
expand on it. Ooh.
Like a mini Paul Bunyan.
Ooh, yeah.
Uh-huh. Maybe invite some other manufacturers to set up a booth, give them some logs.
Get more work done for you? Yes, I like that.
Get a second Porta John.
That you would need.
Yeah. So I am not saying yes, but I'm not saying no. I think what I'm thinking, Dan, is that you and me start looking into it. Maybe this isn't the ideal weekend, but maybe we could, maybe find a better weekend. And if we can have like another firewood extravaganza out here, we certainly got the location because the property owner, he was excited at what he saw. And, there's a lot of space. Did you happen to notice all the space there?
Yeah, that's the one nice thing, and the one of the biggest challenges with putting something like this on is finding the space, the venue that can accommodate the parking, and machines getting set up, people bringing their splitters to split wood. So that is, you have all of the components, I think, in place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So that's, let's put that on our list of things to do. What's right next to go to the sub shop for lunch, turn the, turn the temperature on the freezer up because the ice cubes weren't cold enough. And let's look into getting something going maybe for next year. I think that'd be
Yeah,
awesome.
I do think though a little bit later, maybe in the spring, would be a better time wise. But
Yeah, could be. You don't want it to conflict with any other like big event. Like there's the big logger show in Maine on May 19th and 20th
yeah,
that I will
middle
be
of May.
making an appearance at. So you want to avoid conflict like that because then too, a lot of these um, manufacturers can't be two places at the same time, and then they wouldn't feel like coming here because they got to go to another place in the very next week. So you
Yeah,
gotta yeah, we got to be a little bit more strategic
yep.
here.
We got to
But I
coordinate
don't
out
think we
some
need a
dates.
lot of people to come. We don't
No,
need a lot of people to come, just
no.
enough. hmm And the firewood community from YouTube. It wouldn't be worth it if we can't get these guys and gals to show up.
Right. That was a big part of it, and it's just again meeting people that I've met before, meeting them again, and new people. I mean, there was a couple from Maine that I talked to,
Yes.
and I was just like, wow, he drove all the way down here, and he brought up a good point though. He was telling me how he watches us on YouTube. Every time we put out a video, he watches it, and he said, to me, I feel like I know you guys so well, but it must be
Uh-huh.
strange for you to meet me having never seen me or talked to me before. And it is kind of an interesting dynamic there
Yeah.
because it's, they kind of feel like they know us because they see us every day or every other day. But, when you haven't met someone, it's, not that I'm saying I don't mind meeting people, but it's interesting when you think about it that way because they feel like they know us from way back when.
Yeah, so there was I'm gonna name off here some so we had people from Canada that came, Maine, New York, Connecticut, um, uh, Pennsylvania, obviously, North and South Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, West Virginia, and I don't remember anyone from Maryland. I'll have to look at the list. But there was people that came a long way, Dan, spent money in hotels and restaurants, and it's just flattering. It really
Yep.
is.
Well, like I
It
said,
really is.
I'm thinking that you have a new title to slap on and put up somewhere. The world's most famous firewood delivery service.
Right here in Northeast Ohio. That could be a new T-shirt, Dan. Well, thank you for the
Oh,
title.
oh, yeah.
Now we got to come up with one for you too.
I've got plenty of names people refer to me by.
The newscaster was calling you names because you kept photobombing her shoot. So I was standing in front of the camera. The newscaster was talking, and she looks up and she rolls her eyes. I turn around. Dan's up on top of the big log pile, like doing jumping jacks and doing his hero's pose up there.
It was just the most opportune moment
Hmm.
to climb
You
up
got
there.
some good shots from up there, though,
Yeah,
on the video that you did. That was nice.
that's why
Yeah.
I went up there because they were unloading the I believe it was the tumbler or maybe the live deck. So
Hmm.
I wanted to get up there, get a shot from above, and then I was waiting and I was just kind of up there, kind of dancing around, playing the air guitar and jamming out, and then here I am in the background of the news shot.
Yeah, it was nice. Yeah, there was so many nice people that came. My friend Holly, I grew up with, came out with the quad sync, and Melissa Nagy, Linda Barton from Sweet Memories Vintage Tees and Candy Store, that does my T-shirts. Gosh, the Employee of the Month T-shirt sold like hotcakes, man.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to even get one myself. Ooh,
How did that happen?
I don't
You better
know.
give that back. You didn't earn that, did you? That has to go before the committee.
Oh no, I was voted in unanimous.
Okay. Oh, yeah. All right. Well, Dan, I want to thank you personally for what you've done in helping me with this move and this very important part of this company's evolution and sharing it on uh, YouTube. Your video is really good.
Well, thank you, and it was an honor to be a part of it. I'm glad I could come down and partake in the festivities.
Yeah. Well, let's try it again maybe next year. Let's see if we can put something together.
Yes, I think so. Sounds like a plan.
All right. Yeah. All right. Well, Dan, how about let's strike up the band, and I'm gonna go outside and dry off my coats and my boots, and hope this rain will eventually stop.
Yeah, now you can't even go outside and split any wood. You have to go over to your wood yard.
Yeah, I know.
See? Yeah.
That commute that just wears me out. The 4 minute commute. Oh, the
Four
traffic's so
minutes.
bad.
All right. So, yes, I think both Joe and myself, we would like to thank everyone who came out to the open house. I had a great time. I'm thinking everyone else did as well. And thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Woodhounds.
Yeah, thanks everyone for coming. It was just a great day, and I really hope that you enjoyed your time, and I hope that you returned home safely. And for those of you waiting at home, there was no cell phone signal. We
Oh,
couldn't
that's
get
right.
the live stream to come up. What the heck? That's what I said. We can put robots on Mars, and we can't get a cell phone to work in Northeast Ohio. What
Yep.
what gives here, people? Yeah, so we didn't have a live stream, but I'm sure that everyone out there understands. But we did what we could, and as soon as we could get back and get our videos edited, we put them up.
Yep. Yes, indeed. All right. Well, let's strike up the band here. Thanks for tuning in.
Yes. Thanks, everyone. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in and listening to the world's biggest firewood podcast, the Woodhounds.
Right here on your favorite podcasting platform. And Joe, I want you
Yes.
to stay
dry,
be
out of the rain,
and have
a great day.